Hello everyone, my name is Jaedynn_, and in this video, I'm doing something very different. For some reason, I've been feeling really unmotivated to make an actual video out of the many hours of footage I have just on my hard drive. So this time around, I'm going to try my hand at something very different. Commentary. Recently, I have been really wanting to talk about this game I played called Mouthwashing. Mouthwashing, as of right now, is my favorite psychological horror game that's out. Mouthwashing came out in 2024 and was developed by Wrong Organ, and boy is it beautiful. This isn't just going to be a big fat synopsis on Mouthwashing. This is just my big stupid opinion on the game, and excuse me if I get anything wrong. I'm not smart. I played Mouthwashing in VC with my good buddy Orange, screen sharing at him. Our time we kept telling ourselves, you know, after this, we're getting off, because it was late at night and we were tired. But because of how intriguing and also disturbing the game was, we played the entire game in one session. But whatever. Sit back, relax, and enjoy my Ultra Kill gameplay. In Mouthwashing, for the most part, you play as Jimmy. No, not Jimmy DeSanta, but instead the worst Jimmy ever. Imagine being stuck on the spaceship with the worst person you know, and then multiply all of their bad traits by like 10,000. 10,000 sounds right. I'm just gonna list off the main bad stuff he does right here, right now. It's heavily implied that Jimmy impregnated Anya, another crew member in space, and is also verbally abusive to her like he is with the rest of the crew, honestly. Jimmy tries to crash his hit because he didn't want to take responsibility for assaulting Anya and having to deal with the child. Jimmy was thankfully unsuccessful in this, but he did give the former captain, Curly, almost fatal injuries. If you don't want to see post-crash Curly, then just skip to the time on the screen. This is what he looks like before the crash, and this is after. Jimmy manipulates Daisuke, the youngest person on the ship, into crawling through a dangerous vent that was in the utility room that Swansea was blocking off. And spoiler alert again, this ends with injuries he honestly couldn't possibly survive. I would explain in more detail if Daisuke died, but basically Swansea put Daisuke down because, again, he had nearly fatal injuries. While doing research for this video, I came across a paragraph in an article that perfectly describes Jimmy throughout the game. First of all is Jimmy's pure denial and lack of acknowledgement that the fault lies with him and him alone. He blamed the other crew members for the terrible events that occurred during the crash and after it. Living in Fantasyland, his visions tested him with repeated reminders of his actions. He battled his conscience and fought against the pressure to take responsibility. At the end of the game, Jimmy kills himself. But really, he should have just done that earlier. Like a lot earlier. Maybe even before the game. Like he shouldn't have been a character at all. Curly. I overall like Curly before the crash. Minus one thing. After the crash, it's just kind of hard to look at him. Swansea. I don't have many comments for Swansea, honestly. He's just your typical old guy alcoholic type character. Also, I don't think it's ever said, but it's led to believe that he hid the one and only working cryopod for Daisuke, his assistant. Speaking of Daisuke, I freaking love that guy. Anya. Anya is honestly my favorite character. For the most part, I just feel really bad for her. While doing research for this video, I was looking into the Mouthwashing fandom, and it said, and I quote, "Before her assault, she was seemingly much livelier, getting along well with and trusting the rest of the Toflar crew, which likely included Jimmy. And then after her assault, she became more shut in and nervous. From what I know, she suffered the worst at the hands of Jimmy, right next to Curly. I can honestly go on and on about how much I like the characters of this game, minus Jimmy of course, but I don't want to be here forever ranting about the crew. In my opinion, the story is beautifully written, and it's actually really understandable to an idiot like me. Mouthwashing for the most part follows the perspective of Jimmy, but at times you can switch to Curly's perspective, you only really see Curly's perspective in the sections that take place before the crash, which I don't think is many. Speaking of, in the game you constantly switch between before and after the crash. For example, one section would take place a few months before the crash, and another would take place like 3 months after the crash, which works really, really well, honestly. The story is incredibly understandable, despite all the time skips forwards and backwards. Throughout the game, you, Jimmy and Curly, are told to take responsibility, which I don't see either of the two doing. Jimmy's an asshole who treats the rest of the crew poorly, including his best friend, Curly, and then Curly failed to take responsibility for literally anything Jimmy did before the crash. This is all I really have to say about the story. Mouthwashing is really good with this game design in my opinion. Everything about the game is just enough to make me feel disturbed. Even in the sections where it's before the crash, I still feel ever so slightly off when just roaming around the ship. Honestly, I don't have many comments about the game design because I'm not a game design freak like some people. I just think it's really, really cool. Honestly, at first for me, the gameplay was pretty confusing, but that's more because I'm a stupid idiot moron who couldn't figure out that I need to grab the stupid code scanner so I can get the code for this door. The gameplay at the very least sucked me in hard when I was playing in VC with Orange. As I mentioned earlier, we kept on saying, okay, after this part, now we're going to bed. But then we just played the game in one sitting. Me and Orange both mutually hated the sections where you had to give Curly his pills. The noises the poor guy made were so discomforting that we both just had to take our headphones off and take a break. Especially that section where you had to feed Curly his own leg. Yeesh. I can honestly go on and on about how much I enjoyed the gameplay, but I want to keep this section a bit shorter. Basically, the gameplay as a whole is super engaging and I love going through and replaying the game.
You know, it's really not that serious, Anya.
Really? You should tell it to that one before he wins the fucking game again! I'm just sorry I actually know how to play the game and I'm at least good at it. You don't know how to play it right! You fucking cheat and you steal all the money off the fucking table! I cheat at a dice!
My final thoughts that I want to spew out there is that Mouthwashing is a really good game, and that you should genuinely check it out. I honestly cannot express how much fun I had playing it, despite it being so disturbing. I know it's way too late for this, but if I got my video out sooner, then I would have told you guys to go vote Mouthwashing for the Steam Awards. If you watched through this whole video, thank you very much. I'm mostly uploading this because, as I mentioned earlier, for some reason I'm feeling super unmotivated to work on any of the other videos I've started, but trust me, I'll be getting back to cooking soon, I promised. If you like this video, then please subscribe, like, and all that jazz. If you want to see more commentary from me in the future, then let me know, and I definitely will not. I hate scripting. Also, I know I haven't uploaded there in a while, but go and subscribe to my second channel, Jaedynn Squared. That's where I'll try to upload more just stuff and stuff. Anyway, bye-bye!